In the cold stillness of a late November evening, when the sky hung low and heavy over the city, 19-year-old Maya Carter stood at the gas station counter staring at the only thing she had left, $8 crumpled warm from her palm. It was all she had to survive the next 2 days. No food at home. No bus pass for work. No help coming. Yet just as she stepped back toward the door, preparing to walk home hungry, the sound of something heavy collapsing echoed across the pump area. She turned, and saw a fully grown biker, broad-shouldered and intimidating, drop to the ground beside his motorcycle, clutching his chest with trembling hands. And in that moment, without thinking, Maya ran toward him, unaware that this simple act of kindness would rewrite her entire life within 24 hours. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and humanity still being alive in this world, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Maya slid onto the concrete beside the biker, whose vest carried the unmistakable patch of a Hell's Angels chapter. His breathing was shallow, his face pale beneath his thick gray beard. For most people, fear alone would have frozen them in place. But Maya saw something else. A man in pain, alone in the dark, needing help. Without hesitation, she grabbed the bottled water she had just purchased, unscrewed the cap, and lifted it toward his lips. The biker's gloved hand trembled as he tried to sit upright, but she steadied him, whispering reassurance even though she had no idea who he was or what danger might surround him. As she helped him sip the water, Maya noticed his leg was twisted awkwardly, likely from collapsing awkwardly onto the pavement. She looked around, hoping someone else might step in, but the station was empty, the world too busy to care. She used her hoodie sleeves to keep him warm, pressing her phone into his hand so he could call the paramedics when he regained enough strength. When he struggled to speak, she stayed with him until the medics arrived, answering their questions, explaining everything she saw, refusing to leave until they assured her he would be taken care of. By the time the ambulance pulled away, Maya stood alone under the harsh station lights, $8 poorer, hunger gnawing at her stomach, the cold burning through her sleeves. But despite everything, she walked home with a strange warmth in her chest. She didn't know the biker's name. She didn't expect anything in return. She only hoped he survived. The next morning began like any other, quiet, heavy, and uncertain. Maya woke in her tiny apartment, the power nearly overdue, and prepared to walk 5 miles to her part-time job because she didn't have bus money. When she stepped outside, however, the street seemed unusually loud. A deep rumble shook the ground, like thunder rolling through the narrow road. At first she thought it was construction. But when she turned the corner, her breath caught. An entire formation of motorcycles, gleaming chrome, black leather, and roaring engines, stretched as far as her eyes could see. At least 100 bikers lined the street, all wearing the same patch she had seen the night before. Neighbors peeked out of windows. Children stood frozen with wide eyes. Maya almost stepped back into her building out of confusion and fear, but then she saw him. The gray-bearded biker from last night, now standing tall with the help of 2 younger men, his leg wrapped but his eyes full of gratitude. The moment he spotted her, the entire crowd fell silent. He raised a hand and pointed toward Maya, and she felt every gaze shift onto her. Slowly, the man walked forward, wincing with every step until he stopped right in front of her. He told her he remembered nothing at first, but when the medics replayed the body camera footage, they showed him the young woman who stayed beside him, gave him her last water, and refused to leave until help came. He told her that in his world, the world of rough roads, loyalty, and hard lives, people rarely saw kindness from strangers. Yet she had shown it without hesitation. Then came the moment Maya would never forget. With a signal from the man, 2 bikers rolled forward a brand new scooter, shiny black with a small bow tied to the handlebars. Behind it, others carried grocery boxes, prepaid gift cards, and a sealed envelope the man placed directly into her hands. Inside was a letter thanking her for saving his life. and $5,000 collected by the entire chapter overnight. The man explained that the collapse she witnessed was not just exhaustion but a sudden medical issue that could have turned fatal if she hadn't been there. Her $8, her water, her courage, they meant the difference between someone going home alive or not going home at all. And in their world, debts like that were never ignored. Tears blurred Maya's eyes as she stood speechless. She had spent the last year fighting to stay afloat after her mother passed away, juggling work shifts, rent, and grief. Now, in one unbelievable morning, 100 strangers stood united to lift her back up. The biker placed a hand on her shoulder and told her something she would remember forever. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness becomes the spark that lights the path to someone else's future. As the engines roared again and the bikers prepared to leave, they formed a protective formation around her building, revving in salute before riding off one by one. Neighbors stepped outside, clapping, crying, hugging her. Maya stood in the middle of the street with her scooter, groceries, and envelope, overwhelmed by the sudden shift of destiny. She didn't know what tomorrow would hold, but for the first time in a long time, she felt something she had nearly lost: hope. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, and share to help spread kindness across the world. Speech balloon special request: comment, kindness lives on, if you believe good deeds always return multiplied.